Well, the market has opened extremely flat this morning because you see the Goldilocks is broken and we have a number of issues that are causing concern. Tesla is suffering from a couple of holes in its narrative, but the upcoming Cybertruck and Highland announcements have the potential to start major upward momentum. However, these announcements need to be done right in order to make that upward momentum take place. Well, I'll talk more about the flat market as we get into this, and I'll talk about where I think Tesla's headed in the immediate future. This is Randy Kirk, and if you like this morning's show, if you just can't wait for 7:10 California time to roll around, hit like, hit subscribe, and hit notify. We do have more and more and more good stuff coming up today, like, for instance, a continuation of the Brian Wang, and he's coming on again today. We'll be talking more and more about LK99, the implications, but also, is there any update in terms of the various labs that are experimenting with it and what they think in terms of whether this is a real deal or not. And of course, Patreon, you know what's going on there. Lots of opportunities for you to join. Yeah, that's what we want you to do. Join Patreon. All right, let's talk now. So the market recovered nicely yesterday from the Moody's downgrade. It was a big blow, but the market took a little deeper look. This often happens, the headline creates a reaction, but then when you start reading more deeply into what was said, then the original panic dies down and the market starts to recover. Now, in this particular case, Moody's downgrade reasons, there was just two. Basically, they were known factors. The commercial real estate market is a big concern to them, and in particular, office space. We know that's the big piece of the commercial real estate that's in trouble. And then overall profits at the banks was reducing their ability to self-finance and therefore increase their capacity to loan out money. Well, those are both known factors. And even though the Fed was saying everything's fine with the regional banks, Moody's was saying, well, it's fine, but we're still concerned about these two issues. So I think as people understood the reasons and understood that this was not really big news, then the market was able to recover. And of course, that floated all boats, including Tesla, which has had, no ability to break below that 255 range. Well, the issue that Moody's was talking about goes way beyond actual banks, though, because it's not just about those regional banks and the banking system. That is a problem, and it's a big enough problem all by itself, but it also affects customers who want to borrow, smaller businesses, auto dealers, mortgages, and especially mortgages on real property, like these commercial facilities. All of those things are affected, and so that's another level of concern, and that is probably what the market is way more concerned about, more interested in right now. I've reported all about that in this space, and the banks, the Fed is, they're saying everything is super tight and getting tighter. They had their own survey. I talked about that survey a couple of weeks ago, where they said the regional bank presidents are saying, hey, it's tight and it's going to get tighter. Although they did say the additional tightening won't be as much as the tightening of the second quarter. Well, all of that, of course, again, speaks to local and regional businesses. On the flip side of that, I've mentioned these regional businesses and these commercial property owners have had a long time to think about this, because this is, as they say, is the recession that has been talked about forever and has not yet come to be. Well, after this deeper read of the facts, the market showed some strength and resiliency, and that is a good thing. That would indicate that the bull is not completely broken down yet, and to be able to overcome the negative news of Monday and Tuesday, is a good thing. This morning, however, it's kind of flat because why? Well, tomorrow is the CPI print, and there's no news today. There was a lot of Fed presidents and governors and all those guys out yesterday talking, and it tended to be dovish. It tended to be, we think that the raising is over, but no chance of lowering. But all that Fed talk yesterday and once again this morning, it's kind of flattish. Everybody's up, down. It's all around zero. Some in the green, some in the red. It's really the market hasn't taken any direction at all this morning. But I do like the resiliency, and I do like the resiliency in Tesla. An excellent rebound, bounced hard off the 245, and it seems very comfortable right now trading around this 250, bouncing around the 250 this morning again. We need data or we need news everywhere in order to make things change. Well, we had some news this morning. It's not exactly news, but it's the kind of thing that I watch and that I report to you. Oil has broken out of the trading range and on the upside. So the trading range was the high was 82, and we were trading in the 82s all this week. A little bit last week, we're getting at the 82, almost 83. Well, this morning it's a full dollar over that. It's completely trading out of the range at this point. That's really, really should be of concern, because oil is such an inflationary, it's a part of one major leg of potential inflation going forward. Of course, labor is another major area of concern. And if we see those labor and oil issues starting to impact, broader areas like transportation, food prices, etc., these things could start to become problematic long term, causing the Fed to say, "Hey, we haven't finished the job." That's what I'm more concerned about. So, of course, tomorrow's CPI print is going to be huge in terms of what the market does, as well as what Tesla does going forward. Total credit card indebtedness also rose by 45 billion in the April through June period. That's an increase of more than 4%, taking us for the first time over 1 trillion in outstanding credit card indebtedness. That is a big number, and it's another area of concern. Are people using up their cash? They're either using up what they had set aside in terms of their savings. I haven't heard from Bank of America, Jamie Dimon, yet. I haven't heard him talking about how much cash there is in individual cash accounts, but the fact that people are borrowing against their credit cards with the high credit card interest rates right now, that's tremendously concerning. The increase was most notable in total household debt, edging higher by about 16 billion to 17 trillion. This is also a record. A note on this said, household budgets have benefited from excess savings and pandemic-related debt forgiveness over the past 3 years, but the remnants of those benefits are coming to an end. This was from NerdWallet. Credit card delinquencies continue on an upward trend, a growing sign that consumers are feeling the pinch of high prices and lower savings compared to what was a few years ago. As card use has been growing, so does the delinquency rate. The Fed measure of credit card debt 30 or more days late climbed to 7.2% in the second quarter, compared to 6.5% in the first quarter, and the highest rate since the first quarter of 2012. However, this is right around the normal run rate. Central banks said total debt delinquency edged higher to 3.18 compared to 3%. So this credit card balance thing, seeing this brisk growth in the second quarter, is concerning. Delinquency rates have edged up, but are still not concerning, but it's an area to watch. Wholesale inventories yesterday were revised down. Now, less inventory should create more demand from wholesalers and retailers, so manufacturers and importers should be looking at bigger purchase orders coming in right now, though we also have to figure out why were these orders, why were inventories lowered? I know as a manufacturer, wholesaler, over the years, why would I trim inventories? I trim inventories because, I'm not selling as much, and so I don't need as much. It might also be that I had built up inventories because of the pandemic and because I was afraid I wouldn't have the inventory when I needed it. More info, more data points are needed to figure out what's going on there, but it could be that we'll see some increases in orders. So I did promise to check on UPS. They actually have a very strong rating. They have a very high level of debt is the only risk factor. The union contract, of course, is a new risk factor going forward. But overall, it's a well-run company and very, very high ratings from those people following UPS. So just wanted to let you know that. Li Auto has actually, here's one. Li Auto has passed Tesla in margins. How about that one? Holding on to their 21% into Q1 from Q2, and they currently have about $4 billion in sales. The stock was under pressure yesterday for some reason, but it might have been selling on the good news. But anyway, Li Auto's doing fairly well. We'll talk about Rivian, I think, in a minute. I believe I have that in my notes for today. But a few of the Tesla competitors are doing quite well right now. That's absolutely necessary. We need to have a few of these competitors do well in order to end the ice age. And Elon Musk would be very happy to see some of these competitors doing well. This is from Bank of America. They say that they reiterate their neutral rating. We view the company as, talking about Tesla, they view the company as a trailblazer in the EV market and believe it could be successful as EV demand increases over time. Oh, really? They go on to say Tesla's self-funding status and ongoing access to relatively low-cost capital should be of help in supporting future growth. Again, these are does. I'm sorry, maybe I shouldn't even be reporting this report. That said, they say there are a number of hurdles, including uncertainty in the broader macro environment, risks to EV demand, growing competition, and management distractions that could persist over the near term. Bank of America, that is about the worst report I've ever heard. However, they've maintained their $300 price target. So happy to say lots of activity up in Reno. Electric is reporting that last month, Tesla hired Michael Hildebrand in the role of head of Gigafactory Nevada expansion, engineering, and construction. This is according to his LinkedIn profile. Hildebrand is coming from an almost 3 decades in the pharmaceutical industry, where he led many manufacturing projects. Most recently, this was at Eli Lilly, where he was an executive director of projects. Now, this hire, I'm not clear. This is on engineering and construction. It sounds like it might be more to do with the build out of the physical facility itself, as opposed to the line for the various, for the trucks, for the batteries, etc. We're for the robots, whatever. This does not sound like the guy that was going to be the Optimus line production guy, but rather the general build out of Reno. So we'll watch that space a little bit more. I would then hopefully begin to see some backhoes showing up to start production. Permits have also been approved to increase the height of Giga Nevada to 115 feet rather than the current 75 feet in order to accommodate manufacturing equipment. So I assume this means that there will only be limited sections of the building that will be increasing in height, not the entire facility. That would be a huge undertaking. Rivian, here's my Rivian news. Rivian beats on the top and bottom line and increases their full year production estimate from 50 to 52,000. They project profits in 2024, at least operational profits, and they have plenty of cash to get there. I believe over 10 billion in the bank. Rivian starting to look like they'll make it as a car company. If I wasn't fully invested in Tesla and didn't think that Tesla was a huge upward potential compared to its downside risk, I might be looking at Rivian as a potential investment. I'm starting to become a believer that this car company might be a success. Cybertruck Handoff might be coming a little earlier than expected. End of third quarter is almost here. Of course, it's only 52 days away, so it can't be real early, but there's an awful lot of signs. A recent flyover by a drone saw a covered unit of the Cybertruck. That could be a sign. Anyway, we're looking for both the Cybertruck Handoff and of course, the Highland refresh news. These are two things that could move the market quite nicely. I would certainly like to see those happening as soon as possible. Again, I'm not planning to sell any stock, but I just like to see Tesla going up, even though I know I could buy more at lower prices. I understand both arguments. So This is oh yeah, one more piece of news here. China insurance registrations at 12,800 last week. That gives us 46,800 in the first 5 weeks of the third quarter last year. There was 46,800, down slightly to 44,300 this year. That I would call a neutral, because of course there's always the question of what they're selling locally as compared to what they're shipping out to other markets. But I would consider that be neutral. That would certainly indicate that probably the overall Shanghai production and shipments are going to be about where you'd expect them. And maybe there hasn't been much of a shutdown yet, at least with regard to the changeover to Model 3, or maybe that shutdown is over and they're about ready to start production. I'm not sure. Anyway, I just want to encourage you to watch those daily LK99 updates that I'm doing with Brian Wang. You guys have been watching, or somebody's been watching, gotten a lot of views of that, because this is the story possibly of at least the quarter and maybe of the decade, on the order of something like the AI breakthroughs that we've had this year. This would be massive news. The story is far from over. Lots of information coming in terms of saying, no, it doesn't work. And lots of other information coming in saying, well, yeah, but stuff lines up. The guys who originated the thing have sent samples off to labs in the United States and in Korea, and these labs have confirmed that the crystalline structure is the same, or at least the ones in Korea did. Now the question is, can they confirm other aspects, like, for instance, that it does have superconductivity? We're waiting for those reports. Lots and lots and lots of stuff still to happen here before we really know which way things are going to go. So I'll put a card above with regard to that, and then we should have another report on that today, tomorrow, Friday. We'll continue to do this daily reporting. And then I'll have later today my normal financial reporting, my midweek highlights, or I forget what I call it anyway, but that should be also later today. Let's take a look at where things are going. Are we still sitting in neutral territory? Well, the NASDAQ is pretty strongly down now. It's 73 down. The Dow not still more neutral at only 7 down. S&P 8 down. Tesla has now dropped $3.21. So we are now seeing a downward trend. But Tesla is staying nicely above the 244, 245 range. I think I misspoke earlier, and so it said I think I said it right. 245 is a very, very, very hard spot to break through. So hopefully it won't break through that. But everybody is down pretty much across the board now. As I wrap this up, let's take a look real quick at what's happening with oil, etc. And what we've got going on there is, we'll just go through it. We have the crypto was huge up yesterday. I think that had to do with PayPal news with regard to them starting to have a whole nother section of their business devoted to crypto. We have the dollar easing, it says, as the China deflation story lures investors into risk assets. Gold is off this morning again and has been going down quite strongly. Oil continues up and has now broken through 84. I don't like this at all. And then bonds continue to float. The 10-year continues to be around the 4 level and is down this morning. All right, that's what I've got for you this morning. So hit like if this was valuable, helpful in any way. And then hit subscribe and notify if you want to be notified about Brian Wang later today, as well as my regular midweek reporting. And be notified of tomorrow morning on this story, because tomorrow morning we'll be reporting the CPI. Oh my gosh, here we go. And then join Patreon. We've got, of course, a free book if you join at the 5 level, 2 free books if you join at the 10. And those are Audible audio books, not just the paperback or the Kindle. No, I'm giving away the audio books. And then, of course, I did just put up a major piece of unique material up there called Doing the Hard Things, which is a book that I started years ago. Anyway, lots of stuff to see there, and you get 7 days free. That is it for this morning. I am looking forward to talking to you many more times. It has been great talking to you this morning.